Who was Daeron Targaryen? Daeron was born in 143 AC as the firstborn son and heir of King Aegon the Younger Targaryen and Queen Daenerys Velaryon. He is the grandson of Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen and the rogue prince Daemon Targaryen. He had a younger brother, Prince Baelor, and three younger sisters, Princess Daena, Rhaena, and Elena. When his father died in 157 AC, the prince was crowned King Daeron I at the age of 14. He became the 8th Targaryen king to sit the Iron Throne. Daeron kept his uncle, Prince Viserys, as his hand of the king, as his uncle had held the position for Aegon as well. Young Daeron was handsome, being clean-shaven with long hair. He was self-confident and charismatic. He was also an elegant writer. Daeron has been considered great by some, but mad by others. He was idolized by his sister, Princess Daena Targaryen, and Jon Snow, who considers the young dragon as one of his heroes. Daeron wore the Valyrian steel crown of Aegon the Conqueror and owned an elaborate suit of gold and black plate. He also held the Valyrian steel sword Blackfire. Daeron had long felt that the continued independence of Dorne represented unfinished business for the Targaryens, and upon his ascension to the Iron Throne, he vowed to rectify his ancestors' mistake. Viserys and other council members objected to the young king's plans, reminding Daeron that Aegon the Conqueror and his sisters had failed twice in trying to conquer Dorne with dragons, and that now the Iron Throne had none. But Daeron famously replied, "You have a dragon. He stands before you." Daeron planned his conquest of Dorne with the aid of Lord Alan Velaryon, and the campaign showed great promise as Daeron went over and revised the mistakes that were made in the First Dornish War. Daeron split his army into 3 for the invasion and personally led the army down the Boneway. Learning from the mistakes made by Lord Orys Baratheon in the First War, Daeron used goat paths located in the pass to avoid traps and ambushes, which Dornishmen usually implemented to repel invaders. A second army, led by Lord Lionel Tyrell, marched down the prince's path. The third army was a naval assault by Alan Oakenfist along the Dornish coast, and the royal fleet broke the Planky town. After several battles, the Prince of Dorne and 20 Dornish lords bent the knee in the submission of Sunspear in 158 AC. Within a year of the invasion beginning, Daeron became the first Targaryen king to conquer Dorne and unite all 7 kingdoms for the first time, despite the loss of 10,000 men. Daeron wrote The Conquest of Dorne about his achievement. The book was known for its style and simplicity, but in it, Daeron exaggerated the numbers of his foes to make his conquest seem greater. Daeron spent some time in Dorne to consolidate his conquest and eliminate rebels. An assassination attempt on the king was prevented by the actions of his cousin, Prince Aemon Targaryen, who threw himself in the path of a poison arrow meant for Daeron. Aemon the Dragon Knight survived the poison, however, and was sent back to King's Landing to recover, leaving Lord Tyrell in charge in Dorne. Daeron returned to the capital in 159 AC, bringing 14 Dornish nobles with him as hostages. Daeron intended to wed one of his sisters to the Sea Lord of Braavos to seal an alliance with him, with the aim of removing the pirates that were hindering trade with Dorne. According to Grand Maester Keith's Lives of 4 Kings, this talk of marriage alliance with the Braavos, at the time was warring with Pentos and Lys, caused the other free cities to lend aid to the Dornish rebels. Although the Dornish nobility had submitted to House Targaryen, the Dornish smallfolk continued to resist. Daeron's steward in Dorne, Lord Lionel Tyrell, attempted to stamp out a rebellion, and 40 or 50,000 men are said to have died in the next 3 years. A clever trap at Sandstone killed Lionel and sparked a great uprising, however, leading Daeron to return to Dorne in 160 AC. The young dragon achieved victories along the way, while Lord Alan Velaryon dealt with Plankytown and the Green Blood. Thinking the Dornish were again willing to submit, Daeron met with them under a peace banner in 161 AC. However, in a betrayal, the Dornishmen attacked Daeron and his companions. The 18-year-old king died with black fire in his hands, surrounded by a dozen enemies. 3 knights of the king's guard were slain while defending him, including Sir Oliver Oakheart, one yielded, and Prince Aemon Targaryen, the Dragon Knight, who was captured, though Aemon managed to slay 2 of the betrayers before being taken into custody. Daeron was succeeded by his brother Baelor Targaryen, and the Dornish hostages in King's Landing were thrown into the dungeons by Prince Viserys, the Hand of the King. The Weeping Town received its name from the townspeople's reaction when Daeron's corpse arrived from Dorne. Although most lords were vengeful after Daeron's death, Baelor the Blessed forgave the assassins and brought about a reconciliation with the Dornish. George R.R. Martin has described King Daeron as essentially the Alexander the Great of Westeros, in the sense that he was a young, preternaturally skilled genius at military tactics. Daeron Targaryen was called many names in his time: the Boy King, the Young Dragon, and Daeron the Dragon. Daeron had a short life, living only 18 years, although many idolized him. But Daeron was just a boy playing a game, while the Dornish lords were men fighting for their lives, and it was his cockiness in the end that lost him his life. In the city of Old Town, there is a statue of King Daeron I, astride a tall stone horse, his sword lifted towards Dorne. Grand Maester Caith wrote about Daeron's reign in Lives of the Four Kings.